Shakes his head no.
Welcome, everyone, to the press conference. This is after Game 5. As we all know, it was a drawn game. Photographers, please make sure that you do not obstruct the line of sight from the cameras in the back. And for the questions at the end, journalists, the two microphones are on the sides. Do not touch the microphones. And also, please make sure you wear a mask each time you ask a question. The first question is for you, Jan. It seemed a lot of people were speaking that you had a chance here to play aggressively on move 20 when you played Rook D1. You could have played the move C4. Did you think about this move, and why did you decide eventually against it?
Well, of course, I considered C4 as one of my options, but yeah, somehow the position was that pleasant. It was difficult to choose the type of advantage you want to see at the board. So basically, I think I had some idea of playing some knight f5, queen c1, bishop h6, but it unfortunately didn't work. Move per move, and then I believe okay, c4 was quite principal, but I also had the idea to play c4 after trading away light square bishops. Once again, yes. So I could play this position with pawn on c5, could play this position with pawn on c3. And speaking about the endgame, I thought it's quite unpleasant, also move per move, but yeah, somehow it turned out that this passive plan exists, like just knight e8, knight f8, and I believe perhaps I could play h4 instead of knight h5, just to fix h4 and h5, without playing g4. It was probably the smarter try, but anyway, black is very solid. But yeah, speaking about c4 move, of course, it was... it deserves attention.
Magnus, you must have also seen the move c4. Were you concerned?
Yeah. I definitely considered that the main option. I thought everything else was kind of manageable. Obviously, it's always a bit worse, but it feels like my position is not going to get worse. It's only probably going to gradually improve, seeing as I have very few real weaknesses. But yeah, c4 was definitely what was worrying me the most there, and seeing Rook d1, I kind of thought that the worst was over.
You chose to be the one to deviate first in this game. Why did you choose to do that instead of play the line you did the last time?
I thought it's always good to spring the first surprise. Yeah, unfortunately, didn't work out very well for me. I think he chose a very good line, yeah, I actually kind of knew that it's hard to completely equalize in this line. I thought there's limited material and fairly symmetrical, so I'll figure it out if it comes to that. But yeah, it was a little bit more unpleasant than I'd hoped.
Jan, were you pleased to see him deviate with Rook b8?
No, I wasn't pleased. Let's say, of course, you consider a lot of options for black, because basically more or less all sensible tries after a4 in Marshall are very solid. So okay, Rook b8 is one of most solid perhaps, but yeah, black somehow should come up with some precise moves afterwards. But yeah, I guess Magnus didn't manage to make all moves into the right order, so that's why okay, this opportunity of c4, for example, existed. But I mean, once you see Spanish game, you already know not so pleased. Yeah.
Your general feeling about the result, given the position that you had and the potential opportunities that you had?
No, of course I'm disappointed.
Magnus, same question.
No, it's okay. Obviously, I'm not thrilled with the game where I'm just had. Yeah, I don't think I'm. Well, unless you count rook a2, rook a1 at the end, I didn't make a single active move. So, that's not ideal. Doesn't win you many games, but the result obviously is fine.
A lot of comments are coming in about draws. The draws, you've heard this question before. The fifth draw matters in this match overall. Do you care, or it's just another draw with the black pieces?
I think there is some magical cutoff point where draws, instead of just being normal, they become a problem, but don't think we've crossed the Rubicon yet.
All right. I will open the floor to journalists for your questions. You may go to the microphones to the sides of the room and ask your questions. And there are two microphones, so make your way to those. Yes?
Yes, Rune from Chess24 Global Stream. First question to Jan. You seem to be putting out a lot of pressure today. Famously, before the match, you said that maybe Magnus's fire wasn't burning so strongly anymore. He defended very well. Has these first 5 games changed your assessment of the fire situation?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember if I say something like this, yeah. I mean, of course, he plays extremely well, and I mean, today it's basically not about him defending well, but me, using all the opportunities I had. I mean, in general, I believe, okay, these games are pretty much tense, and despite it's all draws, we are trying to play reasonable chess.
Yeah, of course, a big fight. And similar question to Magnus. Before the match, you said that maybe Dingler Caruana could be a bigger challenge. But after these 5 games and struggling a bit today, has that changed your assessment of your opponent?
Well, as you remember, it was pretty tough against Fabio as well. But no, obviously, Jan is a very strong player. There was nothing that I said that would contradict that.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Klein with Chess.com. My question is for Jan Nepomniachtchi. Comparing today's round to round 2, when you had some chances in that game, it looks, just by judging by your body language, that you're a little more disappointed today than about round 2. Is that accurate, or was round 2 a bigger disappointment results-wise?
No, I mean, basically every time when you're given some chances and you fail to use them properly, you're not happy. Yeah, I believe today it was like a very pleasant flow of the game, and obviously I should have tried harder to, use the momentum. I mean, in the game too, by the way, I'm not sure that humanly it was like that obvious. That, I mean, every time, it seemed like, okay, perhaps Black is rock solid in an exchange up, but in fact, I think White had quite nice playing compensation.
Question to Magnus. When Jan had his knight on f5, you had a chance to play h5 with the idea of g6 to get the knight out, but you went for f6, and Jan, you did not stop the idea with g4. You also played f3, and both of you were not afraid of this h5 g6 idea, or you didn't consider that as?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I thought concretely f3 was threatening knight takes d6 or knight f takes d6, and I could not go knight d6 anymore because the pawn was not hanging on e4, I simply considered knight d6 to be a positional threat. I thought I needed to exchange to be able to recapture with the knight, and that's why I thought that was more important than not allowing h4, h5. And besides, I'd kind of already envisioned the fortress that I had in the game, where I just exchange one knight, put the bishop on f8, and then just do nothing. Maybe in the end game, I can actually exchange rooks as well. Probably that's the case. But I just thought that I had a nice fortress there. I assume after h5, knight takes d6, I'm probably fine as well. But it would pose me different kinds of problems, and I didn't want to give him the chance to sort of change the flow of the game and the character of the position.
Your thoughts about h5? Yeah.
No, that's I think what Magnus said is correct, and at least I thought like this knight d6, and if you take the knight, then okay, knight e7, knight c6 ideas would be very annoying. And once my rook enters the 7th rank and there is no pawn on c7, if it moves to d6, then it becomes, I would say, practically unpleasant for black. But I mean, of course, I think there is enough resources to defend this position as well. But yeah, I believe f6 is a very smart move. But yeah, once again, I would surely love to play h4, h5 without playing g4 to cover f4 square and also have this g3 f4 breakthrough idea. But yeah, perhaps I didn't work hard enough to find a way to proceed.
Thank you.
Ole Kristianström, VG Norway. Question for Jan Alexandrovich. A lot of people will say that you have changed your style of play since the candidates or something. Do you agree? What is your view on this? And is that the way of winning a world championship?
Well, I basically don't know what to answer because, well, it might seem that, okay, my style has changed a little bit, but in general, I'm, just as previously, I'm trying to play some good moves and, both some problems. So perhaps my opponent, feels some pressure and makes mistakes. And I guess that's it. But in general, I think that's how you try to play chess. Yeah, you try to play well. And I mean, if you play well, then you have some chances for sure.
Sean with chess.com, question for both players. Earlier today, there was a celebration and a band and horns and drums. I was wondering how the facilities held up. Were you able to hear that inside your box?
Yeah.
No.
No, I didn't hear anything, and I don't think the celebration was about the game.
Wait, it was about your birthday. No, I'm just kidding. But
Hi, Jovan Joncic from VST. Magnus, a question for you. It felt like you were trying to set up the fortress that you just talked about, starting with 98. How did it feel going into that kind of a position, knowing that you will be on the defensive until probably the very end of the game?
I didn't mind. It was okay. It's perverse kind of taste to like defending these positions, but I do enjoy it from time to time. I had, as you said, I had a clear goal for what I wanted to do, and that was reach the fortress that I had in the game, and in that sense, it was job well done, and that was definitely satisfying.
Thanks.
Mike Klein with chess.com. Question is for either player. If you ever got in a position where you were unsure about a continuation and your game was done, would you want to know from your team right away what the computer evaluation was, or would your team generally hold off on letting you know? You do have quite a long ride from over the playing area to here.
Yeah, well, normally you wanna, of course, you wanna know the truth.
Right away?
Okay, why not?
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation, but in general, you're gonna find out anyway. So it's better if somebody from the team lets you know.
Hello, Jan and Magnus. Great game today, another draw. Who would have guessed? My name is Andrea, reporting from Botez Live. Magnus, I bet you're really tired of getting a lot of really complicated chess questions, but I've been dying to ask you, how does the knight move?
That's a good question. It generally moves like an L, and sometimes in blitz games it can be very unpredictable.
Thank you, Magnus. Only you could answer my question.
All right, if there are, please.
It seems we moved on to human interest, so I'll just ask one final one. Magnus, I think this is the first World Championship where the water's been relatively warm. So if you had to try a water sport in your day off, what would it be?
Probably just go out on a boat and relax. Otherwise, I like what's it called? The tube, where you just sit on the back and you're dragged and you try to hold on. Water skiing is okay, but it's kind of easy. And I'm still trying to master wakeboarding. Jet skis are that's too much speed for me.
If there are no more questions, I will continue along the whimsical vein of the last couple of questions from FeedHS. If you want to ask any questions, you can tweet on @FeedHS. And King Hunter is asking a question to Magnus, but I will extend it to both players, starting with you, Jan. Just in case you have a time traveler machine, what changes would you like to make in your chess career?
Start working earlier.
Magnus?
No, there were a couple of. I don't know. I mean, there were a couple of moments that I could have changed, but I've had so much good fortune that I don't think I would have changed anything and risked a butterfly effect.
That concludes the press conference. Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of the United Arab Emirates. It is the Golden Jubilee. It will be a day off. Enjoy the day, everyone. It should be a fantastic festival. And we will resume the day after tomorrow at 16:30 for Game 6. Thank you and have a good night.